I'm going to say this one slow. You thinking about it right now. You know where you done settled in your life. Is it in your career? Is it in a relationship? Is it in your health? I know I'm supposed to be striving to get off of all the meds. I know I'm supposed to be striving to feel 100% better, but you know what? I'll settle for just doing better. I know I'm supposed to be striving for my best, but I'll settle for just one medication. At least I'm not on 6. I'll settle for just being 20 pounds overweight. At least I lost the first 40. He or she is not, they not quite the list, and the flag ain't red. It's just like a burnt orange. Yeah, I take a burnt orange flag. Settling. How does this cause chronic stress? Because optimal health is not a privilege, it's a right. However, unfortunately, the overwhelming majority of health challenges today can be attributed to lifestyle. This includes our physical activity, the quality of our relationships, stress, purpose and fulfillment, and of course, our diet. But what if there was an alternative? What if we could prevent and combat these health challenges with lifestyle changes before pills and procedures? You are listening to the Plant Protocol podcast with yours truly, plant-based health and business coach, and now the forever voice in your head, Lisa A. Smith. It's time to come get this health. Today, guys, I want to talk about how I've mastered chronic stress. So we're doing the chronic stress series on the Plant Protocol podcast. Make sure you are following this series on the podcast as we work through what it means to eliminate chronic stress. And one of the things I want to talk about today is how I personally, something that I stopped doing to personally master chronic stress. Now, before we get into today's topic, let me just do, per usual, when I talk about stress, let me do my disclaimer. I am not suggesting that it is possible to live completely stress-free. I'm suggesting that it's possible to live completely free of chronic stress. And acute stress and chronic, two different things. And so I want to make sure we're on the same page today as I talk more about chronic stress, because it is one of those things that kills us slowly. Chronic stress is at the root of about 90% of lifestyle disease. And lifestyle disease are things like being overweight or obese, that is a pre-existing condition, hypertension, high cholesterol, heart failure, different types of cancers can all be triggered by different types of emotions. And so if stress and overwhelm is one of those things you're dealing with, it can lead to bad health challenges, like fatal health challenges, right? Kidney failure, heart failure. Like I had somebody in my life whose spleen spontaneously erupted from stress. So I need you guys to understand that when I come on here and I talk about stress, it is because this is a real thing. Like kale won't fix stress. Carrots won't fix stress. Lunges and squats won't fix stress. Drinking water won't fix stress. Even God's gift to us all, coconut water, won't fix stress, right? A good smoothie bar. Let me tell you what else won't fix chronic stress. Spa days won't fix chronic stress. Massages won't fix chronic stress. Journaling, it won't fix chronic stress. Meditation, breathing, it won't fix chronic stress. It will give you relief in the moment and allow you to manage it. But we should not be managing anything that's meant for elimination. Just like I don't understand why somebody would manage type 2 diabetes for 20 years. Did you know that that's reversible? Why would you be managing obesity for 10 years? Did you know that that was reversible? Why would we be managing chronic stress? Did you know that this was reversible? Why would you manage anything that can take your life? It's too early. It's too early. It's too early for me to be sipping. Let's get into it. I need you guys to understand the importance of today's topic. So let me tell y'all a story to lead off. Now, I wore my All Things Detroit shirt today. Now, a couple months ago, I was in Houston, right? And I'm from Detroit. Y'all need to understand I'm from Detroit, okay? I'm from Detroit. And I know the reputation about Detroit. I know like the reputation about us being tough, about, girls from Detroit, like, what up, doe? Like I know the reputation, but I didn't know how much Detroit I had in me until I got to Houston. So let me tell y'all a story to kick off today's conversation. So several months ago, I was in Houston and I had pulled into a shopping plaza. And you guys who bear with me, I told this story several months ago during one of my live master classes, but it was so good I had to bring it back. So if you heard it before, just enjoy it again. Okay, so several months ago, I was in Houston. I pulled into a shopping plaza because I was going to pick up some food. And I went into the place to pick up my food and it wasn't ready. I had pre-ordered, but it wasn't ready yet. So I had to wait a little longer, right? So I was in the place a little longer than I expected to be. I thought it was just going to be a pickup and get up out of there, but that's not what it was. And so I'm in the place and I'm waiting on my food, no problem, no big rush, right? But because I was in there longer than expected, my car was in the parking lot. And by the time I came out, it was more people in the parking lot. And it was more people, hanging out. And so I come out of the restaurant, y'all. I come out of the restaurant. I'm walking to my car and I see all of these dudes. I see all of these guys standing around. Now, the guys, they had on gear. They had on their leather jackets. They had on their, like biker gear. They were clearly part of a club. We've all seen the biker guys and the biker girls, and they're part of a riding club or something like that. But this was a shopping plaza, and where cars are parked going in and out of all of the different businesses. And these guys were just hanging out in the parking lot, right? They just hanging out in the parking lot. And as I'm walking closer, because my car was parked in the back of the parking lot, as I'm walking closer to my car, I'm like, it looked like they buy my car. I'm like, as I'm getting closer, I'm noticing the closer I get, because they're just standing around socializing. They weren't preparing to do anything. They weren't getting on their bikes or nothing, or getting in their cars or nothing. They were just, I guess this was just a meeting spot for the day. And so they just all gathered around in a circle, kicking it in the middle of the parking lot. And as I got closer to my car, I noticed that they were by my car. And as I got even closer to my car, I noticed that a few of them were leaning on my car. And as I got even closer to my car, I noticed one dude even had his foot up on my driver's side door. They were chilling. Like, now I was in the food spot for a little longer than I anticipated, maybe 20 minutes, and they were not there at all. But by the time I came out of the restaurant, somebody had did a hootie hoo. They had gathered and they were all standing around in the parking lot, leaning on people's cars. Mine was one of them, and they having a good conversation. One guy on the driver's side got his elbow up on the roof, having a good conversation. And as I'm walking, getting closer to the car, the Detroit in me was like, oh, hecky no, right? Y'all, you fill in a blank. I'm like, oh, hecky no, right? As I'm getting closer, I realize they are chilling as if my car was the launch pad for the spot. Like my car was home base. It's about three, one leaning on the hood, one on the driver's side, one got his elbow up on. So the Detroit in me was like, whole face twisted up. How dare thee, right? This how I knew I had Detroit in me and not just on me. I walked up to these, and it was all guys, y'all. It wasn't one person. It wasn't two person. It wasn't three person. It was about 10 person, okay? It was about 10 people. And here I am, this little petite. I'm not petite, I'm not short, but I am real lean, right? I'm about a size 6, right? Like I'm real lean, look real innocent by the face. And if I smile, I look real friendly. Child. Knowing I can't beat one of them, let alone 10 of them, I walked through that circle of guys. Like, if you don't get off my car, what is you? I didn't know if somebody had a weapon. I didn't know if somebody was, well-versed in hitting women. I didn't know what type of food. I didn't know if they was high, intoxicated. It didn't matter. The Detroit in me came out so strong. I'm like, what is you doing? Get off my car. Back up. I walk up to the driver's. I didn't flinch. I walked through the circle. I walked up to my driver's side. Dude, what is you? Oh, our bad, ma'am. Everybody start retreating. I'm like, getting disrespectful. Now, one of them was grimming me real hard. Like he looked like he was about ready to go. And I didn't care. I was so taken aback by the disrespect. The Detroit in me didn't see that I was outnumbered. The Detroit in me didn't see that everybody was bigger than me. The Detroit in me didn't see a threat. Matter of fact, in that moment, I became the threat. Let me tell you something. One of the biggest lessons I've learned about myself from being from Detroit and being in circumstances in life that are unexpected and maybe seem bigger and tougher than me is that no matter what, I have managed the art of not flinching. Detroit has taught me you don't flinch. And when I tell you that is the single thing I came here to tell you today, part of the reason you are stressed out, part of the reason you are overwhelmed, part of the reason that life keeps getting the better of you is because every time you walk out to an unexpected circumstance, you flinch. Every time things don't go the way, you flinch. Every time you get rejected, you flinch. Every single time the reality doesn't look like what it looked in your mind, you flinch. Every time something hurts a little bit, you flinch. And part of the reason you have not been able to exit from stress and overwhelm, the thing that is singularly compromising your mental, physical, and emotional health, is because you keep flinching. And so what I came on to share with you today is what is flinching and how are you? I want to break it down for you guys because I don't want to just say you flinching. I want to give you examples of what it means to flinch. I need you to understand because when I walked out of that restaurant and walked into that, I was feeling good. Y'all know how y'all feel when we pick up some food. I'm like, I'm about to go smash. Like I was feeling good, right? So I was in a good mood. Things were going as planned. And then I come out to a situation where somebody's leaning on my car. They disrespected my personal space. And I walk through this circle of biker dudes and I didn't flinch. Get off my car. Get your hand off my roof. Get your foot off my driver's side door and get out of my way. And I got in the car, waited for a minute before I started it because I stared at him through the windshield. I'm like, because what you gonna know is I don't flinch. And that is how all of us should be approaching life. Listen to me very carefully. The thing that keeps us in a state of disobedience is the fact that when things happen to us, we react instead of responding. That is one of the things that keeps us in a state of overwhelm, exhaustion, unfulfillment, unhappiness, because we keep flinching every time things don't go our way. I don't know what y'all gonna have to do. Y'all might have to move y'all zip code for a minute. You might have to go, like I can set you up with a few spots in Detroit if you need to get some no flinch in your system. But we keep reacting to life instead of responding. So let me break it down for you guys a little deeper. What do I mean by flinching? Okay, so first of all, reacting means there's a knee-jerk reaction. Responding means there's a premeditated reaction. So when things don't go your way, you are reacting. That is flinching. But when you look at the circumstance, when you walk into a circumstance or when something happens to you and it's not exactly what you want to happen and you look like, oh my God, I'm a caregiver. I got these babies. I got work. I got this. Oh my God, I hate my job. I hate this. Okay, I tried to sell something. That didn't work out. Okay, I tried marriage and that ain't work out. Okay, I tried my health. been trying to lose this weight, Lisa, for 5 years. The scale ain't moving. And you keep flinching and running back to comfort, running back to disobedience because that's all that you know. And so reacting is knee-jerk. Reacting is knee-jerk. Responding is premeditated. So how do you flinch? How are you flinching in life that's leading to chronic stress? Let me share with you a few examples. The first is you panic, and that causes you to make impulsive decisions. So impulsive decision-making is an example of flinching. Impulsive decision-making is an example of flinching, right? You don't think before you act. And then it causes you to be overwhelmed and stressed out. You ever like something don't go your way or somebody say something crazy to you, or you walk out and you see something you weren't supposed to see. And then all of a sudden you're just like, you popping off, or you saying yes to something real quick before you thought about it. You saying no to something real quick before you thought about it. Impossible. I'm gonna give you an example. You're trying to get healthy, right? But then you have a long day. Things go crazy at work that day or that week. And you come home and you just pour yourself a drink and you grab a sleeve of cookies or you grab those chips. It's impulsive. You ever made a decision and didn't even realize you weren't supposed to be making that decision until after you made it? You ever been so impulsive in your decision making that by the time you look up, you're like, oh crap, I forgot I was doing Lisa's 30-day vegan challenge. I ain't even supposed to be eating this foolishness. It was impulsive, right? Because we don't know, we haven't mastered the art of responding versus reacting. And so because of that, now you're extending the time that it's going to take for you to optimize your health because you're impulsive with your decision making. That is a way of flinching. Though somebody said something crazy at work, somebody didn't do their part at work, and you had to cover the team. Your team is acting crazy. The people you supervise and manage is acting crazy. Some client, if you're an entrepreneur like me, some client come in your email box talking real greasy to you. That just happened to me the other day. When I tell you I had to take my time and respond, she gonna say to me, "Do you know time zones?" I said, "Ooh, child. Ooh, Lisa. Ooh, sit here and breathe before you respond, honey. Before you put these weapons to a keyboard." Let me tell you, my fingers are a weapon. Before you put these 10 weapons to a keyboard, think about what you're going to say, Lisa. You got to keep your business together. You got to keep. But what I'm saying is we stay stressed out because our decision-making is impulsive. It's impulsive. And that impulsive decision-making is so dangerous. It's so dangerous. And so that's what happens. Like, we so impulsive because we eat soon as we feel overwhelmed. We eat and drink soon as we feel sad. We skip workouts. I'm too upset to go to the gym. I'm too upset to continue to take care of myself. When we experience an unexpected loss, right? We make impulsive decision makings, and that is a form of flinching. If something can happen to you and it completely derails you from the plan you're on, the path you're set on to accomplish your goals, you, my friend, are flinching. And every time you flinch, you prolong your own success. Let me give you another example of flinching. I got 3 or 4 I wanted to share with you today. Let me give you another example of flinching. You get so overwhelmed with emotions, you shut down. So you guys know I'm a business coach, right? And so I help individuals start their own coaching company like I have, right? So I've packaged the process that I use to build a successful coaching company. And one of the things I've used to build a successful coaching company is organic marketing like this, right? Creating really good content online. You guys know I come on every Monday and give y'all guys a keynote, right? And so I've mastered the art of creating really good content that's attractive to my audience. And so I teach this process in my business accelerator, my coaching business accelerator. And when I teach this process in my coaching business accelerator, I'm teaching our clients, our students, how to create content. Hey, you got to go online. You got to show your face. People got to hear your voice. You have to show up and publicly share your perspective, right? Your perspective. And I say, you got to show your perspective. And what happens is people turn the camera on and they are not in love with what they see looking back at them. They turn the mic on and they are not in love with what they hear. And they're overwhelmed with fear. They're overwhelmed with insecurity. They're overwhelmed with self-consciousness when it's time to do something hard. In this case, I'm talking about showing up publicly. You feel called to the stage, but you're like, Lisa, how do I start telling my story? How do I start speaking? I don't feel good enough. I still have shame about stuff in my past. I don't feel like my journey is perfect. I don't feel like I'm there yet. And so you become so overwhelmed with emotion that you flinch. God already gave you the assignment. God already gave you the divine download. And not only has he given you the assignment, you passed due from turn. God gave you the assignment years ago. God gave you the assignment months ago, but you so overwhelmed with emotion that you flinch. He been told you what to do, but at the thought of doing it shuts you down. I just had a conversation with someone. We met for tea a couple of days ago, and she said, I used to post content online for my business. But then one of my mentors said what I was doing was like demonic because she was burning sage. And so her mentor told her that's demonic. Like, you shouldn't do that. You're going to turn people off. You shouldn't do that as part of your business. She hasn't posted since. And that was months ago. It might be years. I can't remember. She flinched. It felt right. She wanted to share her perspective in her industry. And she wanted to show, how she cleansed spaces for people. And somebody told her something. It caused her to get in her feelings and she flinched, cut the camera off and cut it back on ever since. And the conversation we were having at tea the other day, she was asking me, how do I start speaking? She said, I want to be a speaker. She said, you're a speaker. I want to be a speaker. Where do I start? She said, what's the first step that I take? I said, I don't know the first step you should take, but I'll tell you the first step I took. And I told her that I started by creating my own stage in 2016. I told her I started by creating my own stage. And I said, I recommend that to everybody who wants to speak. Don't wait for somebody to call you on their stage. Create your own. So I told her, hey, I created a recurring masterclass that I taught every month. And I started doing live events for our company. And I created my own stage. And I set myself up in such a way where I was practicing my speaking all the time instead of waiting for somebody else. I got my reps in myself with myself first. And I created my own audience. And I was like, so I highly recommend you actually start creating content on social media. And then that's when she told me that, well, part of the reason she hasn't been on social media in forever is because somebody said something to her months ago that made her feel insecure about the content she was posting, and she ain't been back. The second way y'all flinching in life is that you get overwhelmed with emotion and you shut down. You just stop. And then that causes chronic stress. How does that cause chronic stress? Because you have an assignment. You have a thing you've been called to do. You have a thing that felt right, but you allowed somebody else or a feeling or an experience to cause you to completely shut down. Now you're out of alignment. Now you're disobedient. Now you're moving further away from self-actualization as opposed to closer to self-actualization. And when we are not purposeful in our life, when we are not doing meaningful and fulfilling work, that stresses us out. Every human needs to feel meaningful. Every human needs to feel purposeful. And when we intentionally pull away from our purpose, when we intentionally pull away from our assignment, that causes imbalance in the body and in the mind. It is a cognitive dissonance that happens when we pull away from the thing we feel called to do. Now, cortisol levels are going up. Now, adrenaline is going up. Now, we're flooding the body with stress hormones and confusing the heck out of our system. Chronic stress, because you flinched. You let these people say this mess to you. You let these one or two people tell you no. You let somebody disagreeing with you cause you to completely shut down. Your flinching gonna take you out the game. Let's move on. How are you guys flinching in life that's causing chronic stress? Here's a third one. I'm gonna give you a third way y'all flinching that's compromising your success. This is a big one. Now, this one is really at the root of a lot of stress. So let's say you go after something. Let's use your career as an example. Okay. You want a position, you want a specific position, you want a specific role, you see yourself doing something. Maybe you got a degree, or maybe you got a certification, or maybe you got some experience somewhere, and you want to move up, you want to go after some stuff. And so you start applying for positions that you think, like that you really want. You start applying for exactly what you want, right? And you're not getting callbacks. You're not getting invitations. You're not getting offer letters. Like, you really were trying, and then it's not panning out like the way you thought it would pan out. Like, you went after that promotion and they chose somebody else. You went after, well, you want this one particular company you worked at, and they said, no, not right now. Like, you've been getting rejected. You've been getting rejected. Like, you really want that loving, picturesque, idyllic relationship that you see on TV or in your mind, or you see some other people in healthy relationships, and you really want that. So you start dating. Right? You start dating, and you start seeing people and trying different things out, and you get into a few relationships that end up not working out. Then you start messing around in situationships, and don't nobody know what that is, and things ain't looking up. And so then, somebody comes along, and while they're not quite the list, they'll do. A position comes along, and while it's not quite what you envisioned yourself doing, you accept the offer. Hey, it's Coach Lisa, and I hope you've been enjoying this chronic stress series, learning a lot about what it means to be chronically stressed, and most importantly, the health implications of being chronically stressed. And if you would love to talk with me live, I'm popping in to tell you about a complimentary class I'm hosting on February 20th. On February 20th, I'm going to be teaching the hidden costs of chronic stress. Yeah, we're not done yet, because what I know for certain after being a coach for over a decade is that we have to hear stuff over and over again in multiple ways so that we can make significant changes. So on February 20th, Thursday, February 20th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be teaching a masterclass entitled The Hidden Costs of Chronic Stress. I'm going to get into even more detail about how stress can be dangerous to our lives and our overall well-being. And I'm going to be sharing some things you probably never thought of before you know about the health implications and that stress can lead to disease. At least I hope you know that by now. But I'm going to be sharing some additional costs of being chronically stressed. So you want to get in the virtual room. Now, this class is complimentary. So all you have to do is click the link in the show notes to get registered for Thursday, February 20th at 1 p.m. EST to join me in my next live class about stress. I look forward to seeing you there. The third way that you guys are flinching in life that's causing chronic stress, you're settling. I'm going to say this one slow. You thinking about it right now. You know where you done settled in your life. Is it in your career? Is it in a relationship? Is it in your health? I know I'm supposed to be striving to get off of all the meds. I know I'm supposed to be striving to feel 100% better, but you know what? I'll settle for just doing better. I know I'm supposed to be striving for my best, but I'll settle for just one medication. At least I'm not on 6. I'll settle for just being 20 pounds overweight. At least I lost the first 40. The third way you're flinching in life is you're settling. He or she is not, they not quite the list and the flag ain't red. It's just like a burnt orange. Yeah, I take a burnt orange flag. Settling. How does this cause chronic stress? Because settling leads to resentment. You're settling. You've settled somewhere. And because you were willing to settle for something less than your desire, you look up and now you are resentful. You are unhappy. You in the job looking sideways at the boss or the leadership because you feel like that should have been you. You feel like you know more than them, but you chose to settle. And so you have to be led by somebody you don't even respect. Now you're in a relationship that's not blissful. Your friendships, you so afraid of conflict that you're not willing to have difficult conversations. So your friendships don't even feel aligned because you run from difficult conversation and anything that can be perceived as conflict because you don't want to ruffle feathers. So in your friendships, you settling. You don't even have an ecosystem that's going to build you up. You got church hurt years ago. And so you're not willing to try another faith-based community. You know the importance of being part of a faith-based community. It's meaningful to you. But because you got so hurt years ago, you're not willing to. So you settling for church on YouTube whenever you can get around to it. And as a result, your faith muscle weak AF. Because you've settled in your faith. You've settled in your relationships. You've settled in your career. You've settled in your health. You've settled in your personal development. That's too hard to talk about. I can't get therapy about this. That's too hard to talk about. I can't share it with my partner. That's too hard to talk about. I don't want to bring that back up. I don't want to address that trauma. So I'm willing to be broken. So I'm going to settle in my healing. Now you chronically stressed out because you ain't fully healed. And as a result, you can't maintain healthy relationships. I'm just saying. Yeah, I need y'all to understand how I mastered stress. I stopped flinching. I don't care if the last long-term relationship didn't work out. I'm not giving up on love and I'm not giving up on my perfect love. I don't care that nobody didn't buy the last product or service that we offered in our company. I'm not giving up on being a $10 million company, an 8-9 figure million company. I'm not giving up. I'm not settling for 6 figures. This is not good enough for me. I don't care that the last thing didn't work out. I don't care that our last launch wasn't as big as I wanted it to. I don't care about what the economy did in 2024. I don't care. I don't care that they didn't want to, every time I keep making offers, that this is how much I think I should be paid, but they ain't paid. I'm still not dropping my prices. I don't flinch. It doesn't matter to me. I don't flinch. What else you got? I don't care how many big bag biker dudes are standing around this car when I come into the parking lot. I'm not flinching. Because what I refuse to do is to wake up 1 year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and look to my left, be resentful, get in my car, driving to a job, resentful, looking in the mirror, disappointed in myself because I gave up. I'm not flinching just because I got on the scale and they do what I thought they going to do. I don't care if I go in that dressing room and I'm disappointed because I can't get into that size. I'm not going to take that as a sign that I should get Chick-fil-A on the way home. Stop flinching. That's why you so unhappy. That's why things ain't, how every time it don't look the way you want to look, how every time Lisa said, I hear all these other people getting the results in her 30-day vegan challenge. Why I ain't lost 20 pounds yet? Why I don't have all the mental clarity yet? Why I'm not getting the divine downloads yet? Why? And you keep flinching. So I'm just going to settle for a good version of me when a great version of me was available to me. Now you settling, now you unhappy, you mad, because when you settle, you choose people that settle. Your whole ecosystem done settle. You done settle for him and he done settle for you. Ain't neither one of y'all what y'all wanted. You done settle for it and you done settle, they done settle for you. This job, you weren't even an ideal candidate because you said yes first, then they just took, y'all didn't even want each other. Like everybody's settling and now you stressed out because you flinched. Soon as things didn't go, you like, well, I guess this is good enough. You let them people bring that plate of food out to you and that ain't what you ordered. You flinching. What is you doing? Advocate for yourself. Speak up for yourself. That's how you get stressed out. You know what it's like to live a life where you take whatever they brought to the table over and over and over again. Nigga, I said no dairy. I'm not eating this. I said I'm not doing this. And look at your life. Is your life made up of things that you just let these people bring to the table and this ain't what you ordered? You done cultivated a whole spirit of mediocrity. This is not what I ordered, but you keep on settling. If you will settle at dinner, you will settle on the job. If you will settle at dinner, you will settle in your relationships. Don't think it's just for the big stuff. If you're going to let people bring whatever they want to you, then you would let life bring whatever it wants to you. Stop settling. This ain't what I ordered, ma'am, sir. What is happening? And now, look at you wake up one morning like, how did my life get like this? I didn't even want to live in a suburb. I didn't even want this. How did we get here? You settled. That's how. Nobody's supposed to be. You was, because you ain't sent that thing back. That's how. You should have told that man no when he got down on that. That ain't what you wanted. What is we doing? You let your friends talk all crazy. You got a bunch of friends who ain't going after nothing more in life. They done settled in their 9 to 5 and so have you. They done settled in their marriages and so have you. They done went ahead and said, you know what? I'm just going to accept my fate. I'm just going to be overweight. They gonna get the body I'm giving them this summer. Okay. So they done settled. And so they done made it okay for you to settle. Your whole ecosystem messy. Let me tell you this final one. This final one is, so one of the things that I tell our clients and our students to do, I told you when I'm helping them build a coaching business, I teach them how to create content online, right? And one of the things I do to teach them how to create good content is I tell them that it's exceptionally important that you share your true perspective. So when I come on here, you guys know me pretty well. And so you guys know where I stand on a lot of things, right? Like if I just say, hey, y'all, what's that M word that always makes my blood boil? I know right now 10 people are dropping in the chat, right? Like I share my true perspective, right? You guys know what I stand for and what I don't stand for. You guys know I get sassy. You guys know I'm a no-nonsense coach. You guys know certain things about me. And when we make a decision to show up online in the public eye and share our real perspective about things instead of playing it safe and sharing a widely accepted perspective on things, we are naturally inviting in opposition. I'm going to say that again, okay? This is the final way that y'all flinch. So I tell people when I teach our students the importance of sharing your perspective, I'm like, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about that? And now I need you to go and create content about how you really feel. But anytime you're sharing how you really feel, especially if you're in the public light, like on a podcast, on social media, on stage speaking, whatever it is, or, in a circle, in a group, at work, in your faith-based community, like if there's a conversation being had and you share an opinion that's not of the general consensus, you are naturally inviting in opposition. For a lot of us, we can't handle opposition. Like we can't handle disagreements. A lot of us, it bothers us when people disagree with us or challenge our perspective. And so for a lot of us, if it bothers us when people challenge our perspective, we prefer to avoid those scenarios. And so we decide to stay safe. And what staying safe means is that we start turning the volume down on our true perspective. we start turning the volume down on what we really believe. Because if we've been challenged publicly, if you've been challenged in the office, if you've been challenged online, if somebody came in your comment section talking greasy to you, if somebody done raised their hand at one of your speaking engagements like they have at mine to challenge something you just had, for some of us, that causes us nervousness and angst and anxiety. And so what happens is we want to avoid displeasing people and we want to prioritize people pleasing. And that people pleasing causes us to then be inauthentic. This fourth way that you are flinching is you are walking through life as an imposter. You're acting like you too believe everything in moderation when you don't. But you know, if you say something like, I'm not eating any sugar and I don't think anybody else should. I'm not eating any of that. I'm not doing any of that. It sounds too extreme to people. You don't want to be challenged. You don't want opposition. And so you start walking around like an imposter. You keep on trying to fit in with the crowd. You trying to fit in and act like you go along to get along. You want to act like you believe things that you don't really believe. You won't speak up in those meetings no more because it made you so uncomfortable when you got challenged before. And so you flinch now. Like somebody says something you disagree with. Somebody proposes something that's really no longer aligned with your personal preferences, but you flinch. You don't speak up. You flinch and you cower down. And now they have all the power over you. And you wake up at 50, 60, 70 years old. You don't know who you are. They don't know who you are. And you scared out your mind to be yourself. And now you stressed out because you don't feel like it's safe to be yourself. And when you don't feel like it's safe to be yourself, to share your true perspective, to live your truth, it causes cognitive dissonance in the mind, which means my reality is clashing up against what I really believe and feel and know. And trying to go through life being anybody other than who you truly are is one of the hardest things you'll ever do. I can't come on here and act like anything that I'm not. I don't care about talking slang. Y'all know I'm educated. I'm not about to come on here all corporate. I don't care about stumbling over my words sometimes. Y'all gonna get Lisa as she is. You're gonna get who I am. You're gonna get what I believe. And that's what it's gonna be. I'm telling you, one of the main reasons I quit my 9-to-5 in 2012 and have never worked a 9-to-5 since is because it's real simple. I hate slacks. I hate them. I hate slacks with everything. I don't even know what I hate more, slacks or cooked oatmeal. I don't know which one is worse. Take them both out back and shoot them on the same day with the same gun. I hate it. I hate slacks. I have not wore a pair of slacks since. So if somebody calls me to their speaking engagement, I don't care how corporate it is. I don't care how buttoned up it is. I'm not coming in there with slacks on. I didn't build my own company from the ground up. I didn't start my own platform from the ground up to then come in here and go in here and be what you want me to be. If you want my voice on the stage, if you want me to share my perspective with your audience, then you gonna get me. Here's what I wear. I wear my tight little dresses and my pumps. Or depending on the gig, I might come in there with some athleisure wear on, but I'm not wearing slacks. I'm not about to wear. Now I love a good blazer though, because you can swag out a blazer, but I'm not wearing a whole suit. I'm not doing it. I hate it. I hate it. But let's be clear. I'm okay with me. I know my value. I know what I have to offer, and I don't feel any pressure to acquiesce with what you're looking for. If you not gonna take what I'm giving, then take your offer somewhere else. The fourth thing that is causing you chronic stress is that you flinch because you are people pleasing. You flinch when it's time to please, when somebody else wants you to do something that doesn't align with who you really are. And so you're walking through life as an imposter. You're in your relationships as an imposter. You don't like that. Still ain't told them people. Y'all better start being y'all true self, because it's going to cause you so much misery trying to be like, if you are a health coach, like what would I look like? I'm a health coach. I started as a health coach. Now I'm also a business coach and a personal development coach. But because one of the most universal sayings in health when it comes to food is everything in moderation. If I know that everybody says that, and I decide I don't want to lose any followers, I don't want to piss anybody off, I don't want to upset anybody, I don't want nobody to come at my comments and challenge anything. All I want is hearts. And all I want is 100s. And all I want is, girl, you talking to me. Yes. That's all I want. I don't want anybody to say, well, I disagree. I think moderation isn't. I don't want anybody to disagree with me. So I'm just going to say what everybody else is saying so I can fit in with them, so I can please them, although it's displeasing me, although it's displeasing God. God, like, that ain't who I made you. You don't even like moderation. Personally, you don't even practice moderation. Now I'm stressed out because I go to bed at night. I can only be myself privately, but I don't feel safe to be myself publicly. That's crazy. Do you know how much that'll stress you out? You being something other than who you are? I'm never wearing slacks again. I don't care what y'all say. If you catch me in slacks in these streets, know I am being held against my will. Just know I've been catnip. Call the people for your girl. They done got me. If you catch me on a stage wearing some slacks, I hate it. And I ain't never going back to 9 to 5, because if there's a dress code that doesn't align with my personal comfort, I ain't doing it. You can get somebody else to do it. And here's the crazy part about it. And they will. They like, no problem. Clean your desk off. Bye. What? So let's review, boys and girls. How have I mastered chronic stress? We started today where I told you a story about how I didn't flinch during a circumstance, right? I told that story many months ago, and I wanted to bring it back here on live today. And then I told you guys that the thing that has helped me to truly master the art of avoiding chronic stress is that I've mastered the art of not flinching. When I walk up on a situation that wasn't what I expected, that is completely unexpected, that is out of the blue, that is uncomfortable, when I walk up on an opponent who's bigger than me, who's badder than me, I don't care how big the institution is. I don't care how long the institution has been around. Like, I'm not flinching. Like, for example, this month, I think it's this month, I'm speaking at two really big organizations. I'm speaking at Microsoft this month, and I'm speaking at Intel. And when I had the conversation, we had like the pre-talk with Microsoft, I think it was. And, I was on the phone with the young lady. We were on a meeting, and we were like trying to decide like how the talk was going to go, the speech, the conversation. And we were going through different subject matters or whatever. And we were talking about, plant-based nutrition. And she's like, well, I don't want anybody to, feel like blah, blah, blah. And I let her talk through all that. I'm like, let me let her get her thoughts out. Because what I'm not going to do is go into this place and act like I'm not plant-based. I'm like, if I'm going to talk about nutrition, I understand that there's a stigma, and people are like, I don't want anybody to think we're trying to convince them to blah, 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 blah. Right? I've heard that a lot in the past when organizations and stuff trying to get me to speak like, we don't want to be too aggressive. And I'm like, look, I'm plant-based, and I'm going to tell them people I'm plant-based, and I'm not going to act like that I agree with eating saturated fat and cholesterol. I don't agree with it. Now, I'm not saying people are doomed and got one foot in the grave if they do. I'm not judging, but I'm not going to come here like, just because you're a big organization. And of course I want the pleasure of speaking at your organization. And absolutely, I want to build a relationship and continue to do work with you guys. But if it's at the cost of what I really believe in, I am not even going to flinch when I say no, thank you. I need you guys to understand. You flinch because you're like, well, I got to have this opportunity. I need this opportunity. This would be good. How much should I tell them that I charge, Lisa? Because I don't want to lose the opportunity. You tell them you charge what you charge. And if they tell you they're not going to pay you what you want, and you're not willing to compromise or make some other arrangement, then you don't flinch when you say no, thank you. You get so good that they come back to you and want to pay you double than what you asked for the first time. Stop flinching. I don't care how big the opponent is. I don't care how many people you surrounded by. I don't care how many times you done got rejected. Stop flinching. But Lisa, I told them my price was in the 4 figures and nobody paid it. So everybody's broke. So maybe I should just do it for free, or maybe I should just do it for $500. I'm like, but that don't align with the value that you selling. So let me get this straight. You willing to compromise the profits for your business. You're willing to put your whole business at risk and risk not being able to pay your bills and take care of yourself for a few rejections. Stop flinching. What are we doing? Take them slacks off, pull your natural hair out, go ahead and say ain't and never and got to if you want to. Like, what's all this compromise with who you truly are? What's this all about? Who the heck you trying to please? Is God pleased? That's what you need to be asking yourself, because you keep flinching. I don't want to lose this job. I don't want to lose this man. You better tell him you hate when he do that foolishness. I don't want to ruffle no feathers. I don't want to. I'm afraid of difficult conversations. I'm afraid of being alone. Why your company so bad that you can't be alone? If they not willing to make some adjustments so that you guys can be blissful, then it ain't worth it. I don't understand. That's why you stressed out. You not making tough decisions. You not having difficult conversations. You keep trying to be somebody that you ain't. You keep on compromising. I don't care how big the opponent is. I ain't flinching. This is what I believe in. And if you want me on your stage, this is what I'm going to say. I'm not flinching. And if you bringing me in person, I'm not wearing slacks. Don't even put it in a speaker agreement, because I ain't signing it. So guys, that is how I've mastered chronic stress. Let me be clear. What I'm teaching today, I should have said this in the beginning, is a preventative measure. You know how some things are treatment and some things is prevention. One of the ways I avoid having chronic stress in my life is I don't flinch when things don't go as planned. You guys have to master the art of not flinching. Somebody can tell, I can get 5 no's in a row for one of my coaching programs that cost thousands of dollars, and I'm still going to give them the same price on the 6th call. That's okay. And let me tell you what inevitably happens. They come back. And usually by the time they came back, the price done went up. You should have took me up on my first offer. Because I'm like that. I get better every year. Those of you who have been in my ecosystem for years, you know, Lisa, 10 years in business, like I'm only getting better. These keynotes only gonna get more fire every Monday. If you think the price is staying the same, you got another thing coming. What are you doing? This is the new version. By the time you come back, the price gonna be a couple grand more and more and more. Y'all gotta stop flinching. Stop. What is you afraid of? So not flinching, boys and girls, is a preventative measure. If you're dealing with something right now and you need to combat chronic stress, I want to encourage you to listen to my last episode. My last episode is where I teach you what stages of chronic stress you might be in and what you need to do to get out of each stage. Last time we went over 3 different stages. So on YouTube, that'll be the best episode to watch. It's my last live from last Monday. If you're currently combating chronic stress, today is all about how do I prevent chronic stress. So the next time, guys, you encounter a rough day, the next time you have maybe an argument or a disagreement with somebody you love and it causes you to be uncomfortable, don't flinch. Don't reach for the alcohol. Don't smoke that stuff. Don't pour that poison in your body. Try not flinching this time. Try and be in your feelings without making a self-destructive decision. I'm going to say it again. Try being in your feelings without making a self-destructive decision. You flinch every time something doesn't go right. That's why you can't lose the weight. That's why you can't get the mental clarity. That's why the aches and pains won't go away for real. That's why the medications keep, because you flinch every time. And so it causes you to continue to make self-destructive decisions. You're going to have to learn how to start responding, i.e. having a premeditated response versus reacting, which is a knee-jerk response. We got to get better at this, or else you're going to be in all type of situations and all type of areas of your life that is causing you chronic stress and overwhelm. That's it for me today. Thank y'all so much for being here. I hope we made MLK proud today. I hope I gave him a return on his investment today and let him know, this little Black girl is going to be obedient. But one thing that I admire about MLK that I'm striving to be myself, I did a live about this early last year. I think it was around February or March of 2024. But one of the things I talked about in that particular live is that I'm becoming a public figure, not because I want to be a celebrity, but public figure for me precedes historical figure, right? And so I know, MLK is a historical figure. And one thing that I loved about him is that he was a public figure, right? Like, have you guys recently watched the movie on Netflix about the Black women in the military who was sending out the mail, right? What's the name of it? 68, I don't know, whatever. But the thing about those women, while they were historical figures, they were not public figures. And because I'm on track to make history. Like, we are going to extend the healthy life expectancy for people of color. Like, I'm going to make history, but I'm going to do that. Yes, the 688. Thank you. Thank y'all. I don't want to disrespect our homies, right? The 688. In that film, just like in the film about NASA, all these women were hidden figures. They were hidden figures. So one of the things I love about MLK and several other civil rights leaders is that they were public figures. They made the choice to become public figures before they became historical figures. And I just want you guys to know, just so y'all can know everything y'all need to know about me, is that I'm on track to become a historical figure. And so I made a choice to become a public figure first. So we're going to be in the history books. We are going to extend the healthy life expectancy for people of color. And so I do it by coming on and teaching you guys who you need to become so you can optimize your health. Because we have to live long to fulfill the assignment, not just for the sake of living long, but to fulfill the assignment. So I need to be around till 150 years old because I got work to do. But I'm going to do it publicly because what y'all not about to see is a film about me 60, 80 years from now. Like, oh, dang, who was Lisa A. Smith? She was bad. She did what for us? She did what for history? No. Y'all going to be telling the biographers, no, you got it wrong. That ain't what she said. I'm not going to let a white man with a camera and some money tell my story. I'm going to tell my story publicly. I'm going to lead my people publicly, and we're going to make history together so that when the story is told right and it's told. No, she used to say never not. No, she used to do double negative. Say it right. That ain't what she said. She wasn't that corporate. Y'all going to know what it is because I'm not letting nobody else tell my story. And so shout out to MLK and all our civil rights leaders today who made the conscious choice to be filmed, who made the conscious choice to stand on platforms and make themselves vulnerable to a bullet so that they could represent from the front. Because I'm leading from the front so I can become a historical figure. And I am not allowing anybody else to tell my story when they happen to stumble upon my story later on. So y'all make sure we all tell my story right. Let's all make sure we get it right. And they bet not have not nan picture of me in slacks in them history books. Y'all hear me? If this resonated with you, go back and listen to the very last episode where I broke down the 3 stages of chronic stress if you're trying to combat it. And that'll be the best place to get your next fix. All right. All right. Until next time, God bless y'all. Enjoy the rest of y'all day. Bye, y'all. You tuned in today because, like me, you refuse to let your good become the enemy of your great. You're not settling for good health when optimal is well within reach. If you're ready to go from good to great, visit lisaangelsmith.com to learn more about our plant-based health coaching program, Farm to Table, and our plant-based business accelerator and coaching certification. But before you go, if you enjoyed what you heard today, please consider rating and reviewing this podcast. Until next time, remember, radical obedience is still undefeated. Stay obedient.